Hi, my name's Brian Thomas. I'm going to teach a lesson in life science. Um, Science is a subject that I really enjoy. I love watching documentaries on television about science. I'm watching one right now. You may be watching it too. I think it's called Penguins in Southtown. It's these penguins that are kind of invading this little South African city. They do it every year to kind of make their circle of life move on. So it's all about surviving, uh, reproducing, having children, and hopefully those children can have children and keep your species moving along. So I love science in many ways. It's very complicated, very interesting. I don't understand it all. Um, so I'm not the specialist here. I'm just going to kind of talk about a few things, and I'll have another video that will also kind of just talk about some things regarding cells. So I'm just going to kind of briefly mention a few things about cells. Cells are the building blocks to all living things. When it comes to living things, we have animals, so humans and cats and dogs. Um, Here in Kentucky, we have deer, and you probably have squirrels and rabbits in your backyard. Um, all types of living creatures, fish and, like I said, penguins. They're all animals. Um, the most important thing though is actually plants. They're really the kings to the life here on our planet Earth. So plants again are these green things that we have around. Um, uh, they are the driving force behind life here on Earth. As far as plants go, we have here in Kentucky again, we have trees, oak trees, and we have maple trees, and uh, if you like Christmas, pine trees or cedar trees, all kinds of bushes and flowers. In the ocean, we have what's called algae or kelp. So green is everywhere in our world. Um, and then we have what we call these single-celled organisms. Single-celled organisms, a lot of times we describe that as bacteria, good and bad bacteria. And also, sometimes not so good stuff is like viruses and disease. A lot of times they come from these single-celled organisms that kind of run out of control. Um, so a few things I want to mention is first, I want to kind of just talk about animal cells and plant cells and some things that they have in common. One of the things they have in common is this nucleus. This nucleus is it kind of holds what's referred to as the genetic material. And genetic material is, a lot of times we get into the description of what we call DNA. So, for me again, my name is Brian Thomas. I'm a unique individual, just as you are, and that comes from this genetic material. So, I'm not going to get too far on that because again, that gets complicated. Just thinking of who is Brian Thomas. So, this genetic material in animals and plants is inside this nucleus. Notice though, in a single cell organism, their genetic material is just kind of sprawled out throughout the organism. It doesn't actually have a nucleus. So that's what makes a single cell organism, different than a plant or an animal cell. Something else I want to bring to your attention in a plant cell is they have something called chloroplasts. So that is unique to a plant cell. These chloroplasts are filled with this green substance. This green substance is described as chlorophyll. Now, what's important about chlorophyll is it's very important to this process called photosynthesis. So, photosynthesis is kind of this beginning of this circle of life. This is how sun, its energy, gets turned into a usable energy that the plant has the ability to do. Uh, the chloroplast is allowed to absorb that sun energy and begin the process of photosynthesis. Again, that is unique to plants. They rule. Again, without plants, the circle of life would not even begin. Something that animal cells and plant cells do have in common, though, is what's called this mitochondria. Mitochondria is going to be a big part of what we call cellular respiration. It's kind of the other side of the circle of life. You know, photosynthesis creates this sun energy into a usable energy in the plant, but the plant then has this ability to make this energy become a fuel for itself. So the mitochondria creates nutrients and energy that can actually be used by the animal or the plant. So it's going to be really important, this respiration concept of these are like little uh, power plants inside these cells. Again, these little things here are all referred to as organelles. They all have their little functions. Again, I'm not going to get into all their functions here. I'm just going to kind of mention the nucleus for the genetic material and the mitochondria for cellular respiration and the chloroplast, of course, for photosynthesis. So again, I enjoy life science, and unfortunately, I'm not the best person to explain this. So I'm gonna have another video after this that kind of explains a few more details. But by no means is this going to cover all there is in science, but it just kind of gives you a little glimpse into um, how life begins. So I'll stop there.